Welcome to the Three Ladies Podcast. And let me just start off with this, because I like to get right to it.
Yes, you do.
I'm starting off with the N word, the D word, and the F word.
Oh my gosh.
And I know you're saying, what the hell are you talking about, Keisha?
Yeah, really.
Nepotism, discrimination, and favoritism.
Oh, okay.
So I want you to put a big X there.
Yeah, really.
To which one?
To all three.
Okay.
Because this episode is about hiring family members for your business. Ugh. And by the end of this, you're going to agree with me. All right?
Okay. We'll see.
So let me just say this. And we all know in business is about who you know. Mm-hmm. It's about making those connections.
Yeah.
We say networking. All these things. Mm-hmm. It's who you know, right?
Yes. Well, it's also saving money.
Saving money. So why not hire family members? These are people that you know, number one. You know their weaknesses and their strengths. I'm really trying to convince you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on the fence.
You're on the fence. And I feel like
I say no.
We're doing this all to build legacy, to grow, to help the ones around us. So why wouldn't you, if you have a position to give to your family member in your business, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
For one.
And I'm not talking about the a-holes in the family.
Right.
There's family members you don't even want to go to dinner with. You're like, Right. I'm talking about the family members that you see some potential. You see where they're strong in certain areas.
There's a big difference. There's hiring qualified individuals who happen to be family members, as opposed to hiring a family member over somebody who's qualified. If I have two candidates in front of me, one that has all the credentials, all the experience, and then I have a family member who's probably just starting out, who am I going to give that job to? I'm going to give it to the qualified, experienced individual. That family member may get a job, but it won't be in the job specifically for the role that I'm looking for.
Because this feels like we're in the courtroom.
Well,
jury.
No, here's the problem for me. When you are building a business, there's a balance that has to happen. Mm-hmm. Because you do want to have people that are trustworthy, that you can count on, who understand your passion of what you're trying to build. And also, too, maybe you don't have all the dollars to get the most credentialed person for that role. Mm-hmm. And also, too, the other issue is that even though you might want your family member to join with you, they may not have the passion. They may not have the same drive.
And sometimes the respect.
Well, that too.
Right?
Yeah, they may not respect you.
Right. If I'm the younger sibling and I'm hiring an older sibling to come and work for you, and then you're telling that older sibling to do stuff, well, wait a second. I remember when you used to pee on the bed.
That's right.
So that's where you have someone neutral manage certain areas. I'm not going to manage my brother. I'm going to have someone else.
Starting out.
You don't have the money.
Small business.
Listen to me. Let me say this.
Okay.
I've known you 30 years, right? I know your family. I know the cloth that you're cut from. I know your integrity, your character.
Yes.
I respect you, right?
Right.
I get the resume from Billy Bob. He just came out of school. It's an entry level position.
Right.
He has all the credentials. He has a degree. But I get the phone call from you, and you say, Junior needs a position, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's not even a question.
In her mind.
I'm taking your son in, and I'm going to find a way to fit him in my business on the strength of you. It goes back to who you know. How many times have they said, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, but sometimes I feel very scared about that, because if I've recommended somebody to a business, and somehow the person I recommended doesn't show up in the way that I anticipated that they might have.
Or you anticipated that they would show up too.
Exactly. And then what do you do? Then you've already, you kind of like, what do you do about the person that you recommended them to?
Yes.
We do it all the time on the application.
Okay,
they say,
I'll tell you a
who
personal
referred
story.
you?
I'll tell you a personal story. I remember at one point my son was going to work at my father's bookstore, and he was going over there. Of course, he's a teenager. So what he did his small little tasks, and then he would goof off. And then go play on video games on his phone.
Oh, yeah.
And my father was like, okay, if you're not doing anything, go dust the shelves.
Find something to do.
Find something to do. And I think he wasn't working to the part of what my father's standards were working for. And my father found it very difficult to tell me that, don't bring him back. He can't do.
Really?
He's not working the same way he's supposed to be working.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did tell me that, okay, he's not going to continue the next month, I felt so hurt. I was in my feelings about it.
You feel like your father shouldn't have fired him?
Right. Well, it wasn't a fire. It was more like, okay,
This
he
doesn't
fit. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
fit, right? Because I really need somebody who's going to be dedicated to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So that really got into my feelings.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm thinking to myself that if I have a business, I may have the best intention and looking out for that family member, but when it comes to maybe delegating or re-instructing or maybe termination, how is that going to affect the relationship afterwards?
Well, that's
with
always the
family
risk.
So that's why you started off with, listen, this is going to be
It's good and said
a
in black and
3-month trial
white.
run. This is the contract. If you're not,
Keisha-
I'm not saying you
Right.
can't get rid of a family member. I'm saying if there's a position
Right.
off the top,
Right.
I'm going with my family and friend.
But again, you can have that conversation. It's a 3-month trial, whatever.
Yeah.
But people get in their feelings.
Yeah.
And you have to realize that this is business and this is family. So if I'm going to go in business with family, even if it's a spouse or a brother or sibling or whoever it is, there may be come to a point or a time where you have to re-instruct or even fire the person. I'm moving away from that. Again, like I said, if there's 2 candidates and one has all the qualifications, I'm going to choose that candidate over a family member. Now, this is not to say that I'm not going to give a family member a break. I do believe that we all need help and assistance, and what you said about who you know is very important. So if I'm in a position to influence you to get a job or to be in a certain position, I'm going to try to help you as much as I can. But I also have to realize that this is a business. And some people, because they're family, don't understand that this is a business and our family relationships need to come out of that.
I wonder, though, if we started the conversation, remember when we talked to my sister?
Right.
If you started that conversation with the end in mind, with the family member you're considering for a job, you say, listen, how are you going to feel if for some reason I have to let you go?
Right.
How are you going to feel?
Right.
And if that comes out, oh my gosh, I'd be very disappointed, I'd be hurt, I'd be this. And then there would be the conversation, and you can have that conversation that says, well, will this hurt our relationship? Because to me, my family relationship with you is more important than the job relationship. So if you think that you're going to be in your feelings, like you said, then maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe there's that conversation to see whether that's possible. Because it's not only just with the fact that, you might have to let them go, or maybe, like you said, you're the younger sister. How are you going to feel if I'm your authority figure at work?
You have to take direction from me.
You have to do what I'm asking you to do.
Right.
Well, I like that you said have that conversation first, right? But how many Nepo babies do we have out there? Let me look at
A lot.
We have Megan McCain. Her father is John McCain, right? We have Lily Rose Depp, Johnny Depp's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
We have Willow and Jaden, right?
Yeah, but are they working together?
No. What I'm saying is they have
family
opened
money.
up a door for... Now, you...
But that's a different conversation,
No, listen, you have...
Keisha. That's a different conversation.
If I open up the door for your son and give him a job, of course he has to show up. He's got to do his job. You got to come with your talent. I'm not saying just any old family member. I'm saying the family member that is showing you they have the potential. So that's what I think me and you talking about 2 different family members. Because I have some family members that...
Yeah, we all do. We have some family members
So these Nepo babies, someone has opened the door for them and gave them a chance.
Yeah, but
now they have to show up.
But you can look...
But there's a difference between opening the door for them and working alongside them. That's 2 different things that we're talking about. Like, if I'm owning a business, we're entrepreneurs right now. We having a business. You have your Sakis business, right? We always talk about how our children, we would think that they will be more active and do things for us, and we got to beg them.
Right.
So right now, we give our sons or daughters a position in our business, and they don't show up, Are you going to fire them, or are you going to just keep on hanging on and say,
No,
that,
I'm gonna say this is not working out. That's
Right.
part of being
But
good
then-
business
Right,
partners and
but you-
leaders. You have to communicate. Listen, what
You
you're
may
doing is not
see it
right.
that
That's
way.
why you give the warnings at the job. This is the first one, the second one,
But
the
that's
third
difficult.
one.
That's difficult, because I tell you why. You looking at it as a business transaction, and they taking it personal.
Right. They're
Like,
taking it.
That's my mom. I'm
Right.
fired me from the job.
Exactly.
Or that's my spouse. My spouse fired me from the job. Then it's gonna be a cold bed in
Yes,
that house.
there-
You
you
gonna be
better
sleeping on
believe
the
it.
couch.
Listen,
you fire your
me
spouse.
and my brother just started this business, and
Right.
it ended really quick.
Right.
Right.
Yes, I was hurt.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, damn, like we could have did more.
Right.
But I also realized he also has a family to feed.
Right.
So he couldn't continue on not making enough money.
Right.
Right.
So it did hurt, but that's still my brother.
Yeah.
And guess what? I would go into business with him again. I
Yeah.
would. I've learned my lesson. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I mean,
Again.
don't you know people, family members?
I
Okay,
do.
okay, let me pull out my family list.
I'm gonna err on the side of caution, but again, if I'm in a position to open the doors for other people to walk through, yes, I will do that, right? But saying that right now in my business, let's say I'm in the real estate business right now, okay, I'm gonna give my son a property to manage. I know my weakness of my son, and I can't do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I know that there's certain things he can and cannot do.
Right.
So I'm not gonna put in a position for him to fail. I'm not going to put in a position for him to fail, because this is his limitations and this is what he can and cannot do. And I want, at the end of the day, when we sit around Thanksgiving dinner, there's no strife.
So
there's no argument.
That
There's
was
no-
my first
there's
point.
no-
You know the weakness, and I know my daughter's kind of quiet.
Right.
I'm not gonna have her deal with customer service. I might have her deal with something on the back end.
Right.
You know their weaknesses,
Right.
and you know their strengths.
Right.
Yeah, but this
So
is
that's the wait. Can I get
yeah,
my-
yeah.
'cause I
Okay.
got my list
She
here.
got
Okay.
her list.
Right.
Walmart, the Walton family. Two brothers started it. Look how they've grown. Jeff Bezos and his family, Amazon. The Gates family,
You
Bill
know they're
Gates and his.
divorced.
Yeah.
And the
Don't
children
do
in
that.
Walmart
Don't
are
do that
fighting.
to
And
my
also-
list. Don't do that to
and
my
also
list.
too-
I'm just saying, is it
Well,
just
The Buffett
dynamic?
family. I'm saying this can work.
But the thing
There's-
about it is that I think you have to come in with a certain amount of what we call in research, it's called equipoise.
Okay.
You have to come in with this sense of not having a pro or a con about having a person fired. It's like, let's have a discussion about whether you could be in this position, in this job, doing X with me at this money. And if something goes left or it doesn't work out, that we're still going to feel whole as a family member.
Maybe I have to reposition you. You're not for that position.
Right.
Let's try you on this end of it.
But what if that's not satisfactory for that person?
Then guess what? It's not working.
It's not working.
But
Exactly.
I'm saying, how do you build legacy? How do we do this for our family
well,
if we don't want to include them?
See, what's
Well,
interesting?
do they want to be included?
Right,
That's another
exactly.
narrative too. Because a lot of times our generation or our offspring don't want to inherit the family business.
No.
They don't want to continue this legacy that you have. They want to start their own trajectory in their own path. And if they
Listen.
come back to us and say that, you know what, I think I want to do in the family business, yes, you can probably open the doors for
Oh,
them.
yeah.
But my whole premise is that I worry about the relationship, because business is business, right? And if I can prevent the relationship from going sour, then I'm going to do it at all costs. So I'd rather hire somebody outside who's a neutral person who I can fire at will if they don't do their job, without having to sit around Thanksgiving dinner with mean eyes at me.
Well, I
Yeah.
totally hear you, because, this is in my family. My father was expected to go into the family business, which was a liquor store business,
Right.
and he did not.
You didn't want to
do
go
that.
into business?
No, not at all.
Right.
And what was terrible about it, in some ways, the family wasn't happy that he didn't want to go into that business.
Right.
They wanted to have, it was very much, this is an immigrant family. We've
Right.
built this business, this legacy.
Yes.
We want you to take over.
Right.
And that sometimes in families, the children don't want to take over.
Yes, because they see how many hours that the parents put into it,
Right.
and it's like, I don't want that for myself.
Right. Exactly.
It's not an easy
or
business.
the type of business it is.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah, the entrepreneurship is not an easy
It's
road.
not for everybody.
And it's a long hours. It's not like you can just, when you go to a 9 to 5 clock out and then you go home and have an enjoyable weekend.
No.
That entrepreneur is a 24/7 day
So,
operation.
okay, let's not talk about that family member. Let's talk about the family member that you say, you know what, I want to do it. I want a chance. They don't have all the skills, but they say, you know what, give me a chance.
That's a
Put
different
me in
narrative.
position.
That's a different
That's
narrative.
the family member I'm talking about. They show up with some potential, the drive that you want, and you're
Right.
like, okay, let's find where we can place you to make this work. I'm really talking about that family.
Okay,
member.
on that same token,
And I'm talking about
gonna
that same family member compared to the one who, Billy Bob, who shows up with his resume, who I don't know. I'm
Okay.
gonna go with who I know, who I can say, you know
Okay,
what,
very
I know this
good.
family, I know the character.
So
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
give him
play.
a chance.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. That employee that you gave a chance, that family member you gave a chance to, is working, is flourishing, is doing everything right. Your
He's
sales are going
trying.
up. You guys are making it. Blah blah blah. He decides to leave. How are you gonna feel?
That's fine. It's not working out.
None of it's not working
Communication
out.
is everything.
None of it's working out. It's just that he just realized this is not for him no more, and they want him to leave. Are you gonna?
My
feel?
brother did it. It's fine.
Or here's the other problem, which
What?
I've seen happen. You're really making bank, right?
Mhm.
Your family member's been there working alongside you, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
They are wondering, where's my cut of that pie?
Where's my percentage of the building this business?
Correct.
Right.
That-
That salary's not
I'm
enough.
with it. If we building a family legacy,
No,
no,
because
no.
that
oh,
family...
you saying like if I hire?
Wait a minute. If you've hired me as your family member, I'm not taking the risk as the owner
Exactly.
that you are taking
So
as
why
the
should you
person
get-
who is plowing the way forward.
Right.
So why should that family member expect
50%.
the percentage of growth that you're seeing in your business when you've taken all the risk?
Ooh. Let me
Okay.
answer.
Okay.
Cause y'all gonna cross over to my side.
Right.
Like you said, MC.
Yeah.
Right.
At the table, at the door,
Ah.
we're communicating all
There.
of this.
Yes.
This is what I expect from you, and this is what you expect from me. When you go on a job interview, you go in there to see if it's a good fit.
But you know
right?
something?
In the beginning, it
but
doesn't
I'm gonna
happen
tell
that
you.
way.
You
How
already
many
got
times-
No.
Keisha, how many times have people worked, and I'm telling you, just as a regular worker, not talking about family members,
Right.
but as a worker comes in and they're like, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to send emails. I'm going to file. I'm going to do everything. They promise you the sun, moons, and stars.
Right.
You start to climb up and make money in business. You're driving a big old car. They're in this role as, I don't know, maybe an administrative assistant or whatever. And now you're making millions of dollars. Their salary is capped at
No.
$50,000
No.
or whatever.
Which is
And-
appropriate
No.
for
Right.
that role.
Excuse me. Wait. Excuse me. For that role, because if you're going to pay a family member $100,000 or $200,000, and you know that role is supposed to be $50,000 a year, then you're not doing justice to your business.
And the other people that you've hired, they're
Are
looking at
you-
that person going,
Right.
why are they
She
getting that and
why
I'm
is she
getting
getting
this?
all this money to send
Which
emails?
job have you gone to and you've worked there for many years or whatever and you haven't gotten a raise? Everybody deserves a raise.
Me?
Double?
Hello.
Not double. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
be
lucky
realistic.
to get 3%.
But you're getting your raise, right?
It's not worth.
There's a
let me
difference
tell
between
you.
a raise.
Yeah.
There's
You're
a
getting
difference
your
be-
raise.
There's a difference between a raise, Keisha,
And you're
your
staying.
family member expecting to get the same amount of money that you're making as the owner of the business.
Right.
We've seen that happen
Yes.
time and time again.
Yes.
Because you know why? Because that family member is like, well, I'm your family member. I should be getting more money.
And
than
I'm
I should
helping
helping
you.
build your business. And
Right.
then there's this sourness
I just
that
went
starts.
through it.
There's this sourness that goes into this where they still is like, you know what? I'm not helping her build her business.
And there's
no
a
more.
resentment.
There's a resentment. Yes.
That's
because
the
they're not
problem.
seeing the long toll it took you to get
Well,
to this point.
So this is where the communication comes in.
It's
This
key.
is not that hard.
It is.
This is not that
It is.
hard.
It
We're not
is
talking
hard.
about-
It
Because
is hard.
because people have to face the reality that when they seen you succeed and rise up, it could be something in it. It's just I won't say it's a spirit, but it's just human nature.
Right.
The jealousy will seep in. Like my little sister is a millionaire, and I'm still making this type of money.
Well, but I think there's a way to manage that. And it means that you have to have this really honest, bold conversations, which,
That's what
to be
I'm
frank
talking
with
about.
you, I think that's a very hard thing to do.
It is, because
It
some people
means
don't want to meet you there.
Well, or they're not capable
Yeah.
of meeting you there.
Yeah.
There's some sense of, whatever about,
Right.
they feel a sense of commitment. And truthfully, then this is the problem.
Right.
Truthfully, if that family member has been side by side with you, up at early in the morning, at the job, this and that, above and beyond, do I think that needs to be rewarded? Yes, I do.
Let me tell you,
But
when
not
me and
to
my
an
brother started
outrageous-
this cargo van business,
Mm-hmm.
we funded it.
Right.
No, not we. I funded it.
Okay.
He did the footwork.
Okay.
We were 50-50.
Right.
We came in, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what you're going to do. So
Well, what did y'all talk about profits? What happened if
everything
you
was
profited?
50-50.
So everything would always be split.
Everything was split.
And
But
if-
he
and
probably
if he
felt like he
couldn't
was doing
fulfill-
more on the road. I
Right.
felt like I was doing more of the admin work.
Right.
But, and when he decided, you know what?
He wasn't going to do it
I
anymore.
can't do this anymore. We're not making enough money.
Right.
I had to respect that. Okay, I got to pull back. I had to go find drivers.
Right.
Remember that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bunch of assholes. But
Mm-hmm.
I
So
had
let
to
me ask
I
you
had to
something.
pivot.
But
But
what if-
I don't hold no anger towards him.
But-
He has a family to feed.
I know, but
And
what?
I said I would do it again with him
But
because
wait a
I
minute.
love him and I know his character.
But what if you had flourished and now you found drivers? You've gotten 100%
money.
You're gaining the money. Your brother's been out of it. Is he
And he
still going
wanted
to
to
get?
come back.
No.
Oh,
He's coming back to you and saying, not that your brother would do this. Hey, this is part of my business too. You owe me 50% of what you've earned.
I'm gonna tell you something
Yeah.
because I love my little brother.
You
and,
would do
and
it.
I would.
You would.
For him. I would do it because one, there's been days and I didn't have it, and he showed up for me.
Oh, okay.
So the relationship that I have with him,
Okay.
and then in my head,
That's
I'm
it.
doing all of this for my family.
Yes.
So
But let's say
I want to help
but
him.
let's
So
say
if he said,
didn't
you know
do
what,
that.
Keisha, my name is still on the paperwork, and I want my 50%.
Mhm.
For him, I would do it, and that's the reason why I went into business with him, because I know him.
Right.
I know his strengths. I know his character. Like, I guess it's the love.
Yeah.
But he's been there for me when I didn't have it. So
But see,
that's
I
nothing.
think
to me.
Okay,
sometimes
so with
though, if
that
somebody doesn't
strength-
have it,
Right.
if somebody weren't showing up with the, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
If
but-
it was
Let's say it was a
If it-
different scenario.
a different brother.
No, well, just think about it. Somebody had to step away,
Right.
but they still have 50% of the business. You're now taking on all of it.
Responsibility.
Right, all of it. And you've grown it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've
And then-
grown it huge. Now this brother over here who hasn't been able to help just because of family circumstances sees how you've grown it. And he says, oh, hey, that's great. Where's my 50% of what you've profit?
I guess we asking about
Well, I
the
think
wrong
this is
brother.
no.
I
I think
would
this
be
is
there for
where
him.
it goes wrong. Is that if you have to shift in business, you then have to see. To me, it needs to be contractually say, okay, I know you have to step away. So why don't we say right now, I'm taking over 100%,
Right.
and at some point, when you can get back involved, or if I start achieving 100%, I will make you whole for what you invested.
So goes back to you saying communication.
but
right?
you have to do it at the moment.
You have
of
to
change.
do it at the beginning, and yes, at the moment of change.
Like we said, you have to look at the
It has
end.
to be all the time.
Right.
The
We had
end.
that conversation. And
Yeah.
you have family members that are in
Oh
business,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And let me tell you, difficult conversations are had because
Right.
in order for us to work together, and it's not simple,
No, it's not.
but it's possible.
It's possible.
yes,
And we all have to be.
I feel like
and
y'all
you
not
have to
looking
be-
at the
No, we're
pros
looking.
of it.
Oh, no, you
And
need to
y'all
have a
already
lot of
saying,
mental
"No, I'm
clarity."
not doing that.
Yeah, you know why? Because my mom always told me you can't expect everybody to think like you.
right.
So
I
you
can't.
That's
you
key.
may have this poise, like you said, the love that you have for your family members, so you will honestly do it. But then, like you said, there's some family members who don't see eye to eye.
And what if it was
There's some
reversed?
family members that can't even.
Wait a minute.
right?
What if it
Even
was
ask-
reversed?
What?
Where your brother took over 100%, he made it succeed, and then all of a sudden you're seeing him succeed,
Mm-hmm.
and you're thinking, oh, well, where's my percentage?
Yeah, where we at?
Right,
To meet
right.
you outside.
Exactly.
But you're assuming
Here's my
that
money.
you're assuming that he would do that.
Yes.
Of course.
But maybe he won't.
You never know.
You don't know.
You never know.
But why y'all going off into
I'm gonna
the
tell you
Because
why.
what
what if
No.
on the negative?
No.
What if it worked like the
Then we
Walmart
wa-
family? What if
Listen.
it worked like the Coke family?
Let me tell
what
you
if it
something.
did work? Why we not thinking on
Yeah,
that
but
end of
I'm
it?
gonna tell you something though.
Mhm.
Money changes
people.
everything.
Absolutely. Like we said, money is a spirit.
Money is a spirit, and if a person gets more money and they don't stay who they are centered,
Right.
they change towards what the
Absolutely.
money, because money brings power, it brings attention,
Whatever
it
you are,
brings
it
capacity to
magnifies
do
it.
more. Exactly.
Okay.
So if you're good in spirit, it will magnify your goodness.
Then
If
that
you're
would
a
be-
selfish a-hole. It's going to magnify that
Exactly.
a-hole.
We've seen it.
Right.
We've seen
Yes,
it.
yes. So I, to be honest, I am not totally against the concept of having a family member.
Okay.
But trust, believe, if it's two people in front of me, the person who is the most qualified is going to get the job. I
Well-
will open the doors for family members, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to be the person who's qualified to do the job that I would hire. And then I will have some other role for a family member to grow and blossom.
So remember the N word, the D word, and the F word that I mentioned?
Yeah.
Nepotism,
No
favoritism,
dimes
and discrimination.
forever.
Remember I said put that big X on it?
Right.
Because I'm not talking about those family members that expect favoritism and we're not going there. I'm talking about the family members that show up with potential, you know their strengths, you know these people.
Yeah.
So these are the family members that I'm really talking about, not the ones that you're like, don't even come to my house. Not those.
Right.
But
Well, I think they bring a reasonableness.
Right.
You know, they're easy to communicate with.
right.
They're interested and curious in what you're doing.
Right.
They have the
They're
same goals.
Trustworthy.
They're
They're
trustworthy.
loyal. They feel excited
So
about
that's
what
the
you're
family
creating.
member.
No, okay, so with that point, they come and you know those family members.
They
Okay, let's
ready
say
to
for my
show
son, let's say for example my son, and you hire him, but he's not performing the way he's performing. Are you gonna have a conversation with me or him?
With him.
Of
But-
course.
But before we even made it to that point, we've already had the conversation in the beginning. Listen, I'm going to give you a chance. This is what you're going to do. This is what I expect. If you're not meeting what I need,
Yeah.
then you know
you got to be going.
yeah,
Okay.
or I'm going to have to shift you somewhere else. But yes, I'm opening the door for you because it's you,
Right.
and I'm gonna let you know that.
Right.
But once you get in the business,
Right.
this is what it is, and
Right.
there's no favoritism.
No favoritism, right?
Right. I'm not.
But you know what? Like I was telling my point when I was telling you a story about my son working for my father during this
Yeah.
time. Even though I knew he wasn't doing the right thing, I felt some way.
I'm
did?
sure. Why
Yeah,
not?
because I was like, it's my
Cause you're
dad.
like, that's your grandson.
Well,
Yeah,
let's face
I was
it.
like, I'm so, but I was in my feelings, so it's gonna be hard, and that's why I don't even want to go that route, just because I'm
You
fearful
don't
of
wanna-
that.
Okay.
I'm fearful of the relationship and how it's going to affect us after the fact. Like he could be, like I'm saying, he's good when he's good, but
Right.
certain things distracts him, and I know
Right.
that's one of his weaknesses. So I'm gonna take a personal offense if a family member comes to me and like, okay, I'm gonna have to let him go. I'm like, what? You know? And
But if your dad told you that from the beginning, would you have been like, oh yeah, he already let me know if you're not performing properly? If he would have said, listen, I'm gonna give him a chance, but if he come over here goofing off, he's out of here. Would you still have taken it that way?
not as hard. I don't think
So that's what
probably-
I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You have that conversation from the jump. Remember what
Well,
Naturally
communication.
told us? Have
yeah.
the conversation from the
See
top.
the end in mind.
Right.
What's the end?
It-
I think that's a great.
What about that?
View.
Because I'm really trying to convince you.
I'm still being like, Thanksgiving is gonna be a cold.
She still
Thanksgiving.
is.
Are you still on the fence?
You
Are
know
you
what
still
it
on
is?
the
Because
fence?
because like again, that's your baby. I think maybe
Yeah.
it's different because it's your child.
Yeah.
Like if it had been somebody
What
else,
if
like,
it's
look
your
at my-
husband?
I mean,
Cut.
I mean,
What if
this
it's your
is-
sister? What if your sister came
Well,
back and
you
said,
will.
Keisha fired me? You
I'm
probably
like-
say, well, you probably wasn't doing what you're supposed to do, right?
to some degree, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, like your baby.
Well,
Your
it's
So
baby,
let's
your child.
scratch
Well,
baby.
let's
I
face
maybe I
it.
started
Well,
off wrong
right,
with that.
right.
But I think it's any problem when you have a conflict with a family member. It's always going to have a little more salt in the wound because it's
Yeah.
a family member.
Well, when it's your business, and I think what's her name from Slutty Vegan?
Oh, I
Pinky Cole.
forget. Yeah.
She talked about family members hiring her family members from the beginning, and
It went wrong.
It went wrong.
But then they resolved
she said,
things.
because they knew her passion about her business.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't play with me.
And I'm the same way.
So
I'm
we know that
very
you
much-
don't play
I
and
don't.
you're not showing up the way you're
Yes.
supposed to,
Yes.
you're out of here. We
Yes.
can't.
Yep. Yep.
So what I'm saying is, if you have that conversation from
Right.
jump, I'm giving you a chance.
Yes.
Act right,
Right.
or you're
Well,
gonna be
again,
out of here.
We will hope that it's received in the same light and that people will not take the business personal.
Right.
And that's
You know?
key.
And
Is
that's,
that,
and,
you
that's,
know,
and I think it's hard for some people, I must say.
yeah.
But business is business and personal is personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you make that clear from the
Right.
very beginning.
beginning.
Yes.
I think you said it on at the top of
Yeah.
this.
At the very beginning.
Have that. Communicate
Right.
that.
And you talk about the various scenarios.
Mhm.
Like in research, this is what we always think of: what's the worst case scenario
Right.
Right.
of what could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think about that, you're like, yeah, okay,
Right.
so then this, we need to tell them,
Right.
this is the worst that can happen before you make a decision that you want to come
Right.
on board with this job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know?
So
What's
can
up?
I give my list and then we could go to our key takeaways?
Go ahead.
The Koch family, led by Charles Koch, he
Oh, yeah.
has built vast, let's see what it says here, sectors of energy, chemicals,
Oh,
and
yeah.
manufacturing. The Mars family,
Oh,
you
wow.
know, the
Yeah, the
candy
candy
bars,
bars.
Snickers, M&Ms.
Oh, yeah.
These are all family-owned businesses. Lauder family, the Estee Lauder
yeah, Estee
company,
Lauder. Very, very
Business-
wealthy.
Walgreens.
Yeah, very
Are
wealthy.
there any African American or minority family owned businesses?
Oh, let me go to my other list, honey,
Go to the
because
other list.
I don't see.
Yes.
No, I don't see it on this list, but I'm sure there's.
I
we
think
can
there
have a part
are.
two.
I think we have to, seriously, there are some very, very wealthy
Yeah, I didn't go that
people
deep into
in
it, but
Africa
of course,
who have
absolutely.
billions of dollars. But I think there's this fine line between, like when you look at the Rockefellers, you look at the Hiltons, you look at the, the very wealthy
but
families.
I think that's generational wealth too.
Right.
But it opened up doors. Some of them
Well,
have worked together
yes
to
and
build
no.
the family.
Yes
to
and
build the
no.
business.
I think, sometimes it's detrimental to the person that's a family member, and sometimes it is something very positive. And, again, wealth that just shows up
Right.
sometimes is very difficult to deal with.
I'm going with the positive side of it, and
Absolutely.
I'm not
Stay
going.
your ground.
I'm staying
Well,
on this
we
side.
want you to stay positive.
Yes.
There's no other way,
Yes,
Keisha.
right.
We
Yes.
know that you're the one
Yes.
who jumps out of the plane
Exactly.
and hopefully doesn't need a parachute.
Right.
Right.
I need a parachute. Yeah, yeah, sure. Because I'm out here.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
And she's
Whereas-
going to grow wings
where
and
I
fly.
always more on the side of caution and worrying about the relationship if it goes sour.
so we're in this business together. If things don't work out, I don't think it will affect our friendship.
I will hope not.
Oh,
I
I
don't
don't.
think so.
I
We've
really
had
don't think
discussions
so.
before
Yeah.
about if it came to an end,
Yeah.
then we gave it a good run.
Yeah.
So we had the conversation off the top.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying.
Right.
I really
if I bring in
doubt
that
it.
family member, we're having that conversation.
Yeah.
And I already gave you your contract.
Yes.
If you agree to it, let's
Right.
go. Let's give it a shot.
Well, I think that's always the key and the purpose is not just to talk about it, but put it in writing.
Ooh.
If it's not in writing and you are
It doesn't
three,
exist.
It ain't
well,
happening.
in 3 or 5 years, everyone remembers what was agreed to
You signed.
very differently.
You signed.
Exactly.
And so, but if you agree to something in writing, then
Yes.
you're clear about my
Right.
expectations and outcomes and how things are going to be managed.
How about that? Now when
Writing
you come
is
to
key.
my side.
It's
Yeah.
No, I'm saying you make all good, valid points, and what I'm saying is that people are humans,
oh yeah,
and no matter what you say, business is business and personal is person. They're still, God bless those spouses that work together, because I
yeah.
can only imagine if there's a disagreement or fight. That'll be a cold ass bed, okay? There ain't nothing going on in that bedroom, you
but
know.
I've heard that mean
think-
sex
yes.
is fun.
Nah,
I
not
heard
when
that
you're fighting,
too.
not
That
when you're
make on
fighting.
sex. You
But
be like,
when you're in the toll of it and you're like,
Oh no, I've heard that that's some good sex.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm just saying.
There's a lot of couples that make it work, and they talk about how sometimes they bring work home.
But I'm going to tell you,
but
some
if you have the
venture,
same goals that you're trying to get to,
yeah, but I'm going to tell
Yeah.
you, some people who loan money to companies
Right.
won't do it to couples who own their own business.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because they can see
They're afraid of the potential of
divorce.
and
where does it, where
what
does it
happens
stands.
into the company.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
know?
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a consideration too.
There was a show on Netflix.
Oh, well.
So what's your key takeaways?
So what's our takeaways?
Key takeaways is
Keisha still with
it's
it.
okay to hire your family members if you know their strengths, their weaknesses. Give it a shot. So can I just give a quick list of some black-owned
Go ahead.
Please
do.
Go ahead for the general public.
Johnson Publishing Company.
Oh, great.
Let's see.
Sweetie Pies, right?
Sweetie Pies, yes. Remember
Yes.
Sweetie Pies?
Yeah.
Was that on Netflix?
I think they were.
It was
no,
on
or
BET,
someplace.
Oprah Network.
Oh, right. She was on Now.
I'm looking at my
Right.
list here. I guess this is a franchise. McDonald's. She's a black-owned.
She owns a lot of franchises.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Patricia Williams
Yes.
and her former husband.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Former husband. See,
Don't
it
do
didn't
that.
work out.
Sylvia's Harlem,
She
New
sold,
York.
She sold the business.
Her
though.
restaurant, right?
Yes.
But they were black-owned for a long time,
Oh,
and they
wow.
rocked
Yes,
for
they-
years.
yes.
Yeah, they
Yes.
really
I think
did.
Sylvia passed away.
Really?
And then the children were fighting and they sold
Oh
the business.
wow!
I'm just
That's
saying.
what we doing. Don't do that.
Just saying.
Radio One. Do you know Radio One?
Are they still in existence?
They are still in existence in
Wow.
1980. Hughes and her then husband.
There you go.
Don't do that. But still, what I'm trying to get
That
at is
is as
you can make it work.
make business and personal personal.
Have a nice
And
day.
that in the middle,
Yes.
you have good communication about if
From the
things
top.
Yes.
go well,
Right.
you will be paid accordingly.
Absolutely.
And if things go bad,
Right.
that you will
This
be
is
let
what we're
go,
gonna
but
do.
Yes.
hopefully we will still love each other and care for each other as a family member.
Can we have that conversation in the beginning and then
Yeah.
Again, if between those two candidates,
She's
I
still
am
going to
not-
hire
I
the
am-
person who's not family.
Yes, but I will make a way in door opening for family members.
please in
So-
the comments let us know, would you hire your family members? Number one, please.
Would you go into business with your spouse?
Right.
That's another one.
We don't have to do spouse. Let's start with family.
But that
Okay.
is
'Cause some people might be angry with their spouse right now.
Okay. So family members.
Family members, give them
Yeah.
a chance. Open a door for them.
if
Yes.
that's possible
Right.
because of their skill sets
Yes.
or their ability to communicate.
My vote is if you want peace of mind, don't go to family.
Put your family in position. That's why
I'm
we're
in the
doing
middle.
it for our family.
No, I believe in helping family members.
Yes.
It's just that
and we have to
working
start building
alongside
legacy. We have to.
Right.
And we're gonna find where we could place this family member.
Right.
That doesn't have all the skills. Please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we
I'll give you the skills.
I'm gonna hire your son no matter what.
Okay.
Very
He
good.
got a job with me
Wait,
all the
there you
time.
Go for it.
And she put that on video. Remember that when I send him over there.
And I'll be like, could you come pick him up?
So meanwhile, like, subscribe, and come back every Tuesday to the Three Ladies Podcast, where you're going to see some very interesting discussions
Yes, yes.
about life
And we
balance.
don't always agree.
No, we don't.
But
Especially
that's
on
okay.
this topic.
That's okay. It's all
And make
good.
sure your life is filled with prosperity,
Yep.
passion,
Yep.
and never give up.
There you
Persevere.
go.
Perseverance.
That's right.
That's what we do.